talked about it.
Starting to date all your notes.
Yeah, so when we go back and we talk about stuff, be like, when did we play them? Then I can look at the date. Doing
Look
that,
at you being all smart.
doing that for the Bucks games now.
Yeah, it's probably a good call. All right, so Jake and I are just doing a real quick pop-up, and we're going to talk about Craig Counsell, and we want to kind of answer some frequently asked questions that we're seeing since the news has dropped. So we're going to talk about some of that stuff and our initial reaction. So I guess being at that spot, Jake, what was your initial reaction?
Oh, man. So talking with you, talking with a couple other people, and you're seeing all this weird stuff on Twitter all day, like, oh, he's not going to the Guardians, he's not going to the Mets. So then I really started thinking, like, all right, cool. So we're probably going to sign him for a couple of years. We'll pay him out the ass a little bit, and we'll ride, And I wanted Counsell back. I think he's one of the better managers in baseball, regardless of what people say. And I shit you not, I was having a conversation with a guy I work with. His name is Dave, and I was like, man, it's going to be just like the Roger situation where people bitch and bitch and bitch, but then they're going to fucking miss him when he's gone. They're going to realize. And I shit you not, I was standing waiting the clock out. A guy that I work with named Cody comes up to me, and he goes, man, you believe this shit? And shows me the thing of Yahoo Sports showing that Counsell signed with the Cubs. And I'm like, yep, $8 million a year, dude. That's crazy. He was like, yeah. He's like, he sucks. He's not even good. And I'm like, yeah, that's and I looked at Dave and I was like, I told you. Like, I literally just got done telling him that, like, people don't know what they're talking about. So here's my initial reaction. It sucks. I didn't want him to go to the Cubs. It sucks losing him in general. I was kind of mentally preparing myself for that. But losing him to the Cubs is it goes from like a kick to the gut to the kick to the nuts. And it hurts, but he's going to absolutely kill it in Chicago. Obviously, they're a big market team. We've talked about it with Stephen Watson. Stephen Watson literally said it. He's a guy that works for the Brewers, that baseball is pretty much set up to kind of screw over the small markets, right? We are the smallest market. He's gonna kill it there because they're gonna go up to free agents. They're gonna try to make trades at deadlines. They're gonna be super, super hyper aggressive, and it is what it is. But that was my initial reaction.
Yeah, Paul said this was jaw dropping to me. I get it. It's a situation where, like, okay, let's acknowledge the possibility that Craig Counsell leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think he goes? Mets, he's got a connection with David Stearns. I could see that. Yep. Guardians, maybe they're looking for just some new blood. And then there was some rumors that the Astros were interested, and it's like, okay, they've had a strong run of success. I mean, 7 years in a row they were in the ALCS or the World Series.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it gets to a question where there's 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. And if you were starting a list of like, okay, 30, 29, 28, like those last three teams, it's probably like the Dodgers, the Cubs, and maybe the Cardinals are like the last three teams that you would think that Craig Counsell would go to.
Yeah.
And then we find out that it's the Cubs. And it's like, what? And the thing is this all happened since November 1st, because that was when Craig Counsell officially became a free agent manager, because before then the Cubs would have needed permission from the Brewers to interview. So it's really a situation where the Cubs are probably the second least favorite team that I would have chose for him to go to, other than the Dodgers, because then if he goes to the Dodgers, then it's just like, okay, now it's entirely about money. Whereas going to the Cubs, it's about money, and he's still close to where his sons are going to be playing baseball in Minnesota and Michigan.
Yep.
So Paul asked the question. We can start talking about some questions that we've seen since then. Paul said, does this mean the Cubs make a run at Burns at the trade deadline or trade this offseason? Honestly, I hope they do, and I hope the Brewers charge double what he would be worth.
I agree.
Like, absolutely fleece the Cubs for absolutely every single thing you could possibly get for him. If that's the route that the Cubs are going to be like, hey, we should go get this guy.
The Cubs have a good farm system too, so I'll take some of those top prospects.
Exactly. And we've talked about it. My dislike for the Cubs is less about the team and the players, and it's more about their fan base.
Yep, 100%.
Because honestly, last season with Cody Bellinger having a resurgence of a season, like that's cool to watch. Good for him. That's good for baseball.
Yeah.
Like Dansby Swanson, there's no denying that he's a great baseball player. Nico Horner is a very good baseball player. The Cubs have good players, and I don't hate their players. I hate their fan base because they're obnoxious.
Agreed.
Anthony asked another question that we've seen popping up a lot. Who is the best option for the Brewers' new manager? Okay. Now, there's a handful of ways that we can take this question. First of all, I'm going to say right now, Pat Murphy is probably the front runner, the Brewers bench coach. He's probably the front runner. But here's the thing, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this live, is the Brewers don't have to make a hire in a hurry. Winter meetings are over a month away. The Brewers can take their sweet-ass time picking a new manager.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We've already seen 2 first-time managers hired just today. The Mets hiring a first-time manager. They hired the Yankees bench coach. And the Cleveland Guardians hired former Milwaukee Brewers Stephen Vogt, which is awesome, by the way. Quick side note, Stephen Vogt. And there's tons of ways the Brewers can go from this now. They could look for former managers who are now also free agents, like Craig Counsell was. And they can go in a first-time manager. They could go from a guy who's been like a bench coach or a hitting coach or a pitching coach or a bullpen coach, any of those type options, or they could go the former player route like the Guardians did with Stephen Vogt. And that's where you can bring in, maybe a guy like an Eric Kratz, another former Brewer. He's a guy who knows the game. Guy was a baller. He was in the league for a long time. Former Brewer, similar situation to Counsell, and it wouldn't be a bad option, I don't think. So this is my personal opinion on who is the best option for the Brewers' new manager. I would think, and I don't know this because I don't know Matt Arnold personally, is that Matt Arnold will probably cast a super wide net. And Paul, I'm going to let Jake answer your question. But my first thing is that I think the Brewers will cast a super wide net, and then I'll come back to another thought that I have separately. But Paul asked, do the Brewers maybe do due diligence and maybe look at Gabe Kapler, or do they clean house and maybe carry over in coaches what the new manager wants?
So originally, I was thinking I like Gabe Kapler, as a manager. He's not great, obviously, but I think if the Brewers go into a situation where they're not winning as much as, we're used to over the past couple seasons, and, we go youth movement, I think that he'd be great for the youth, keep their spirits up. He's another former player. So I think that he would be great if we went youth movement, kind of a la NBA Mark Jackson with the Warriors. I always kind of go back to that because it became a dynasty, but Mark Jackson was, absolutely important for the growth of Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry,
Sure.
Not just as, talented players, but becoming men and understanding how to win. So that matters in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, Matt LaFleur is learning that with the Packers. He's learning it's a whole different animal. So, and I think that, I got some thoughts. I'm going to save it. I wrote them down last night, so I'm going to save it. I'm excited after what happened yesterday. But I think Gabe Kapler would be phenomenal if we went youth movement.
So my thoughts on Gabe Kapler, I like him. I like his attitude. I just don't like him as a manager specifically. So, I wouldn't be mad, but, he wouldn't be my first choice. I'll say that.
I like your explanation of casting a wide net because that's pretty much what the Bucks did, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And we came away with a guy that we kind of didn't expect.
Yeah,
Adrian Griffin was a little under the rated hire, I believe, and I know that people are kind of freaking out because the defense is
head coach.
Dude, it's 5 games. Okay, we're gonna get more into that in 48 hours, or 49 hours. Go Cubs, go. No, Josh. We don't for the Cubs. That's a no. Great hire, though. Congratulations to you guys.
That's the thing is like with Craig Counsell, it's like one of the reasons I think this is tough for Brewers fans is because we don't want the Cubs to have nice things. I mean, it's great for, like I said, it's great for Craig Counsell. It sets a precedent for managers in baseball, like that they're worth this type of money. On the subject of hiring former players again, the Angels are apparently including Torrey Hunter, Tim Selman, and Darren Erstad in their managerial hiring process.
Can I just address something real quick?
Go ahead. Paul said I hate nice things in Chicago.
Can we not say that we lost respect for Counsell? Can we not do that, please? Why would you lose respect for him? He gave us everything he had the past 6 years.
Yeah.
And we don't really go after free agents that much. We had close to 60 people suit up for the Brewers last year. I believe it hit 60. Did it hit 60?
I think it did. Yeah.
It was like 58 or whatever.
Yeah.
And for him to manage in that situation and kind of move pieces around and deal with this in a 162-game season in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is absolutely incredible. He gave us every
92 games doing that.
Seriously. Like, for him in this situation to have us winning 90-plus games every year, contending for the division, winning the division, contending for playoffs, going against the big dogs. I mean, sure, we didn't get it done. We didn't win the damn title, but he's not the first manager in Brewers history to not do that.
Yeah. He still has the most wins.
It happens, but can we not say we lost respect for him? That's too far.
It's not losing respect. I'll admit that I lost a little love just because it's a scenario where, like, he's from Wisconsin. Like, he's a Wisconsin guy and then goes to the Chicago. It's like,
I get it, but
and a lot of people brought up
$40 million.
I know. It's
a lot of money, bro. Money talks, they say.
And two things. One, it does not mean the Brewers are cheap because the Brewers had an offer on the table to make him the highest paid manager in baseball. But the thing is, the Cubs have big market pocket where they can offer him more than the most high-paid manager in baseball. Where I will say this, I think if there's a salary cap in baseball, that Craig Counsell is still in Milwaukee.
100%.
And the second thing is, I think this brings up, a lot of people brought up that it brings Favre to the Vikings vibes. And I get it. It's a beloved Wisconsin sports person going to a rival, and it's tough. And like I said, I think this is worse than Favre to the Vikings, honestly, just because Craig Counsell is from Wisconsin. Now, I'll let you give thoughts on that because then I want to look at this from the Brewers' perspective.
Okay. You want me to say that right now?
Do your thing, because then I want to switch to the Brewers' perspective.
I said that. I said it kind of feels like. I don't agree with you a little bit saying that it's worse than Favre because Favre literally did that to try to get back at us. Counsell doesn't have any reason to get back at us. He's not trying to be vindictive.
Not an ill will reason.
Yeah, he's not trying to come at us. But Favre was 100% trying to come at us and take us out himself. So I think that Favre's was still worse. Also, he's a piece of shit. So
the motivation behind it.
Yeah.
All right, I can see that angle. Okay, so now I want to switch this now to doing it less from talking about Craig Counsell, and I want to do this more from talking about the Brewers' angle of this.
Yeah.
What an exciting opportunity the Brewers have now.
Yeah.
Matt Arnold gets to pick his guy. He gets to hand pick somebody to be the manager of the team that he's going to assemble. That's exciting. It sucks that Counsell is going to the Chicago Cubs, but it's exciting now. We have this opportunity. And what I'll say is let's ignore baseball logic for a second and let's just toss out some names of former Milwaukee Brewers who would be fun to have as the new manager, because instantly there's 3 names that came to mind.
Dude, when you said that, I had one name pop up. And he's never going to be a manager, but it's Prince Fielder, dude. That would be amazing.
Okay.
Prince Fielder would be amazing.
I didn't think Ricky Weeks would be a player development coach, but here we are, and he got promoted today.
That's a good.
Carlos Villanueva is now an assistant to the GM, in addition to being a pitching development coach.
Oh, wow.
Taylor Green also got a promotion in the front office today. But I saw one person say it. I saw one person say Ryan Braun.
I would love that too, obviously.
Okay, now hear me out. The other two names. One, Carlos Gomez.
Oh, God.
That would be so fun. And two, bro, listen. What if the Brewers brought in Nyjer Morgan to be their manager? Bro, the vibes would be immaculate. It doesn't make any really baseball sense because I don't think there's any reports that he's even got an interest in doing it. But just strictly, he passes the vibe check.
Nyjer 100%. I shake my hand in the air.
Nyjer Morgan would be so fun.
Dude, that would be interesting, man. Oh my God. He would bring the energy, you could say that. God.
Kim said those options would be killer. That'd be, dude. Okay, like I said, it doesn't make a ton of baseball sense, but just strictly taking the logic out of it for a minute. Let me throw, fist. Man. He's doing this. Oh, that's Taylor right now. Let me throw one other curveball out there. If we're in a world where NL Central rivals are pissing each other off by taking their former players as their managers, Joey Votto.
Oh, you son of a bitch. That would be amazing. That would actually be amazing.
That one actually does make a little bit of sense.
It does.
If he doesn't want to keep playing, because, I mean, he's dealt with a lot of injuries over the last few years. And here's the thing. He is a great person, and he's a great baseball mind.
He knows the game. He's smart as shit.
Exactly. I honestly wouldn't be mad at it if they considered Joey Votto. And Michael's bringing up something right away that people are looking up right away is looking at the Braves assistant coaches.
Just take the Braves hitting coach because he just hit.
Yeah, exactly. He brought up Atlanta's bench coach, Walt Weiss. Their hitting coach, I think, would be an option. And then the other thing that Jake and I will have to do is we'll have to go and look around and see who else has been interviewing for managerial positions.
Yeah.
Because that's basically where the Adrian Griffin hire came back in to go back to the Bucks for a second. He was an assistant who had interviewed for several head coaching positions over the previous years. So the Brewers could be in the market for somebody like that who has had, some coaching experience or even like scouting experience that has been involved in baseball in these types of situations and has interviewed for these types of positions, but just hasn't gotten one yet.
Yeah.
Seitzer, that's his name. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, just pick the hitting coach.
Yeah.
They hit, and that's what we're missing, right?
Right. Exactly.
If we keep, everybody else keep all the, if Pat Murphy stays on, which I actually think that he's going to probably follow Counsell to Chicago.
And he totally could. Yeah.
That's what I mean, makes sense, right? I just hope they take their time and find the best fit and not just hire someone to hire someone. Oh, I absolutely think I'm
curious.
Arnold's not an idiot. That guy's one of the smartest people around, dude. Like, he's going to take his time and he's going to do his homework.
I want to look up to see when baseball's winter meetings start.
I know it's December. I don't know when in December.
I want to say it's like December 15th, but
that sounds about
right. Just looking for dates. December 4th through 7th. Okay, so
oh wow.
I mean, they have almost exactly a month. I mean, it's basically 4 weeks essentially to make their hire. They want to have it done before winter meetings, which I would think they want to. But it's not something that Matt Arnold needs to have done by the end of the week or anything like that. Winter meetings are still a month away. So, like Kim said, take their time, find the best fit. And like I said, cast a wide net. Look at former players, assistant coaches that have interviewed for previous managerial positions. And I do think in the interest of casting that wide net and doing the due diligence, that they should also look at former managers as well. I'm not saying they should hire, a Terry Francona, but it still should be in consideration just in the interest of potentially even just getting some information on, on what to look for in a manager by interviewing former managers. And Michael said, I truly believe Matt Arnold was already prepared for this scenario. I don't want to give him too much credit, but I bet phone calls are being made already. Matt Arnold said it already at their end of the season media availability that they're already going to prepare for the possibility of Craig Counsell leaving. So it is, yes. And I think as soon as other teams were reaching out to the Brewers for permission to interview Craig Counsell, that it was already in motion that Matt Arnold was going to be looking for other candidates. So I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
No, it just, good for him. Sucks for us. But you know what? It gives us an opportunity to, let somebody else come in and figure it out. Maybe this next guy, no name, because we don't even know who they're interested in right now.
Right.
Maybe this next guy is just, the best manager that nobody's ever freaking heard of, and he takes us to the promised lands, man. Everybody, the sky is not falling. We still have the number 2 farm system in baseball. Yep. We still have the number 2 overall prospect in baseball. We still have Corbin Burns. We still have William Contreras. I mean, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Blake said the hero becomes the villain. I don't see him staying in Chicago the whole length of the contract. That we'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
One last name before we sign off, I'll throw out there is Rick Sweet.
Okay.
The Nashville Sounds manager. I'll throw him out there as well. The Nashville Sounds have been pretty damn competitive in AAA over the last couple of years. So
interesting.
And not only that, if they do go youth movement, you bring in a guy they're all already familiar with.
Yeah, he knows all their ins and outs. He knows their bugaboos. I agree.
Already got the relationships.
Yep.
Yeah. So that being said, Jake and I will probably in the next few weeks here plan a candidates show if something doesn't come out in the more near future. Other than that, obviously, like I said, and like Jake said, the key word here for the Brewers is opportunity.
Yep.
All right. See you Wednesday.